Naeem, get up. And I'm just like, no.
Honestly,
and I'm like, but it was just like I said, my dad tell me that it was a lot to take in because I was just like, dude, I'm already doing a lot, man. Just let me stand up, please. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have to do the whole.
I didn't understand.
I don't really care. Like, I don't really care. I just don't want to get roasted.
I don't think at that time, I don't think any kid cared at all.
Right.
It was a normal routine in the morning. You had to stand up and everything, and I was just like I said, to be singled out like that was just another thing to add to the list.
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely remember standing, yo. I don't think I said anything, but I just like, yo, this is not another thing I'm putting on my plate.
Nah, not another thing.
I just didn't put my hand on my heart.
My dad told me I did it, so I was just like, I knew I had to roll with the punches, but I knew that was not gonna be easy, you know.
Every morning when they made that morning announcement, your heart is racing. Everyone stand up. Your heart is beating 100 miles per hour. When you hear that intercom, good morning, everyone. It was rough.
See that? I guess it goes down to what school y'all went. See, it was just different. I went to Eli Whitney, so it was just not far from there. But they just didn't care.
I don't think at high school, I don't think
some kids didn't even care. Yeah,
it wasn't a big deal.
They did it every morning.
They did it. But like everybody just knew. Like
high school,
there was other kids that also just didn't care.
We had like homeroom and stuff like that, so it was all scattered around. Nobody was
elementary school. It was mandatory.
Oh, yeah, it was mandatory for sure. Yeah,
for sure. You all had.
I want to say, I think our dad definitely like send in letters or talk to the
they will not be standing.
I give them credit. They stood up for what they believed in, and they was stern. They were stern. There was no bending the rules. There was nothing. This is how we're gonna do it.
Stand for
something. This is how my kid is gonna be. And we just had to deal with it. So
did y'all get your parents to like call in about like? We're not calling or talk to this. I know my parents did around like wearing the kufi, like just because you're supposed to.
Because they're not wearing hats.
And like so, me personally, like I kind of felt bad because they went to bat for that, and then like maybe after 3 months of school, that kufi started melting like butter. You know what I'm saying? Like again, once I got that haircut, and you know what I'm saying, it was a wrap.
Once your dad stopped cutting,
once my dad, once I got my first fresh cut, yo, the kufi was a wrap, yo. I honestly was hiding my bad edge up, yo. That my dad gave me, man. That's really
I mind wearing the kufi.
Exactly, yo. The nicks on my head, yo.
But it was funny. There were so many myths when you had your kufi. Because I remember girls used to really think me and Muhammad were bald. Yo. Like,
exactly.
I'm 15, yo. You know what I'm saying? 16 years old. I can't be bald already. Oh, you ain't got no hair under that hat. And I'm like, yo, you see?
I think they did that. They just wanted to see our hair.
They was trying to mess with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know. I thought they really didn't believe. I'm like, yo, they might think I'm like, yo, I have waves. You know,
I definitely remember taking my hat.
And the kufi used to help you wave sometimes, but people really, like kids would joke, say, hey, you don't have any hair in your head, stuff like that, man. So that was, like I said, we were getting roasted. Man,
you know what's crazy? In elementary school, I always kept my kufi on all throughout elementary school.
I don't think I ever took it off, yo.
What about in gym class? Did I keep that kufi on in gym class?
I wore it in gym class.
I don't think I really wore it in gym, to be honest.
Your kufi's gonna be funky afterwards, man.
I didn't really.
I don't think that. Yo, I don't think my kufi came off at all.
You had sweat marks on your kufi?
Yeah, I think I took it off most of the time. But by the time I was like the early elementary school, because you didn't go that hard in gym, but definitely by the time I was like 5th, 6th grade, I definitely took it off.
Because if you playing think about it, you playing a full court game in a knit kufi out.
Yeah, that's so
wow. So
you gotta wash it right after that.
Yeah, so growing up, we had some friends that were Muslim too as well. They used to play basketball with the kufi on and sweatpants. They had to cover their knees. Full court. I remember he's making layups. His kufi's falling on the ground. He's picking it up, getting steals. He was unbelievable.
He was the fastest one. He was the fastest one.
Yeah, he was super fast, getting buckets. Kufi
maybe we'll get him on this show.
You know what the phenomenon was about that? No one had ever seen anything like that before. We were the first generation in America that were, like you said, wearing kufis on a basketball court.
And he was good too.
These things are just things were unheard of. We hit these schools.
Definitely
and it was
rebels.
Like, we hit these schools and people were like, who are they? You know, like what are they doing? And
we were definitely different, man.
Yeah, and our parents, like I said, I always give them credit for being bold enough to think outside the box. That's what they believed in. And they instilled that in us, know, and it represents something different. Now, like you said, you see how much has changed, and we kind of pioneer things for kids now. So those kids now can go to school and be comfortable.
I mean, that sounds nice. You said pioneers, more like crash dummies.
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice.
Crash dummies, guinea pigs.
Everyone call it tomato. You know what I'm saying? But how do you think that's affected like our us now? Like going through that. Like, how do you think that like affects the way we think and how we move in the world like today?
I mean, I feel like for us, I mean, we're all very, very unique though. Like having those experiences from homeschool to public school to being around different ethnicities to not being exposed to women. I mean, personally, I mean, it was very beneficial. That's that's my take.
Yeah, I think so too.
Looking back, definitely more pros than cons. Some cons for sure.
I mean, I think if someone meets you, you're gonna stick out. Like,
right.
You know, you're just not the average American. You're not. There's just nothing about you, especially being African American. You know, because they expect you to be a certain way. You know, so when you carry yourself differently, they're like, all right, something's different about him, and that's either whether it's with women or men. You know, so they're gonna notice something different about you right away. You know, because we didn't have an Orthodox lifestyle. You know, it was totally different. You know, for what the American was basically taught.
And I think it taught us a lot of just to have respect and you know, and
discipline.
Yeah, discipline. I mean, and that goes a long way when you become an adult, because you're like, you think about how disciplined we were as kids.
Right. Yeah.
When you're disciplined as a kid, you're only going to be even more disciplined as an adult. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like, you know, granted, we were, they were trying everything out. It was kind of like trial and error. Yeah. But at the same time, man, I think our parents did an amazing job on this show.
Right.
I think they did a great job.
Like I said, no matter what we say, the intentions were always good.
Oh, yeah, it was 100% pure.
Yeah, it was always They want us to have the best life. They want us to live a righteous life. They want us to live, good. They didn't want us to do anything bad or evil. So that was their way of teaching us how to do it, And everything was to live a good, righteous life,
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with everything y'all said. I just think about, like you said, we're unique. So like having those experiences just makes you relatable to such a wider variety of people, and not having such a closed mindset. Like even to this day, I'm always willing to like just hear somebody else out and just be respectful. And, those, what, we categorize in the work world as soft skills are so important just in developing growing in life, whether it's work or just your personal relationships. So, nah, man, I tell these stories, like I'm glad we're finally, putting this, putting this podcast together. Because whenever I tell these stories to people that know me, it's like, they're always like, wow, like I had no clue that you'd have went through something like that, knowing you now and like whatever stages of life that you may meet people. So,
and the other aspect for all the Muslims that did go through that, this is something they can relate to, and hear, and bring back some memories for them.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, you can bring some laughs. And
man. And the thing is, there's communities like this all around the country around that time period that probably experienced a lot of the same things that we're talking about. Like I was talking to a brother the other day. And he was just like, I think he was from Detroit. And he was like, man, like your brother Mustafa reminds me of brother Omar back home. He was just remembering, he like hearing our stories. He was like, yo, this is so relatable. So our intention is like to have this space where like people because I feel like this story isn't talked about. I don't see it out there. Hopefully people will relate and tap in and, connect with us.
Yeah, we'll definitely connect. First generation Crash Dummy too?
Yeah. I was on the West Coast. Everybody was wearing Dickies. I had on the throw. What's good? Absolutely. Salam alaikum, fool.
All right. Yeah, let's get into our unique names. We all have some very unique names growing up, first and last names.
Yep.
Like, what were some experiences or stories about people, asking questions about your names?
So you said names are unique. Actually, that's exactly what Fareed means in Arabic, is unique. But yeah, I mean, people would, add on extra syllables, Fareed. Or I heard Farouk, because they've heard, somebody heard that already before. Somebody called me Farquad one time, man. So people would have fun with it, man. Like we all had silly names, man. But I think it actually worked to my advantage because I work in business and sales. Once you hear my name, you remember it, you'll never forget it. Because I'm like the only Fareed this side of the Mississippi.
That is true, yo. I probably know like two Fareeds.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, it was just the mispronunciation of my name. Nobody ever, and it's only 4 letters. Every single year.
2 syllables.
Exactly. Every single year. Naam, name. And I had to go through from the beginning of the school year all the way to the end. No matter how many times I told them my name, they got it wrong. And then everybody else in the class would pronounce it wrong because the teacher pronounced it wrong. So it was always a challenge. I mean, and then our last name was Hassan. So at that time, like early 90s, that's when Saddam Hussein was hitting. And then everybody was like, man, are you related to Saddam Hussein? I'm like, no. Relax. Got nothing to do with that, I don't support the war in Iraq.
Do you think some of that stuff was intentional, though?
Of course.
As an adult, like you were a teacher, And you teach English, and you can't pronounce a 2-syllable name like you being funny.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely was. Like my name is Muhammad. It's spelled M-U.
And it's the most common name in the world.
They call me Mo, Moo, and I'm like, some people maybe pronounce it like that, but the last name was the worst though because Hassan Hussein.
Oh yeah.
It regardless, it doesn't look the same.
Yeah,
but
it was close enough.
It's easy for them to just be like, are you related to Saddam Hussein? And I was like, come on,
do I look like him?
Exactly.
I'm black, bro.
Exactly.
Well, that was the other thing we were talking about is that because of our name, a lot of people didn't even believe I was black. They were like, "Oh, what country?"
Yeah,
you from?
exactly.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Every time people like, "Where you from?" I'm like, "Pennsylvania." No, where you really from? I'm like,
where your parents from? Where your parents from?
Like, Pennsylvania too.
New Haven, Connecticut.
Right.
Well, where his parents from? I'm like,
exactly.
We're gonna be here all day,
and you get that from people that were like from other countries because they're like that's the names in their country, so they're like.
Yeah.
I had a lady actually ask me, "Can you have that name?" I'm like, "Ma'am, you're in America. I'm pretty sure you can
whatever
name
I want." Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, no, that was wild, man. Like, my name is 2 syllables. Your name is 2 syllables.
Exactly.
Your name is 2 syllables. Like, I feel like
correct.
especially if you're an adult. Now, kids may be different because when they're young, they just know the names that they know from what Jason or John.
Right.
But everybody, I never had no problem. People be funny, just be funny. But other than that, like I didn't have any issues with it,
Yeah. It was a lot of sarcasm. The favorite line, everybody was like, "Your name is name," and I'm like, "No, of course."
Name is name.
That was the famous line. That everybody always said, "Your name is name." That would be the first thing. I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not possible."
That first day of school would always be awkward. It was like, Brian, Lindsay, Yusuf. Like, there's no O in my name. Where are you getting Yusuf from? I had kids call me Eufus growing up, Eufus Hussein. Useless.
Our names aren't that bad. There was some that had worse names than us.
You said what?
I said there were people that had worse names than us.
But then you can pronounce Arnold Schwarzenegger with no problem. You can't say Fareed.
Right, exactly. Farid. Like, it's always.
It was
or like the West Indians be like Farid.
Right,
Which,
right.
that's what the accent, but. Oh man,
I never had any problems with my name. My name is so popular, so
it was very common. Yeah,
everybody knew Muhammad Ali and all that stuff. So, but I mean, people would pronounce it wrong, but they never had like jokes or anything like that. Like never was, except for the last name. But
the Hassan, Hussein, Hassan, tomato. But again, that was then, right? We didn't have the internet. We didn't have all these sources of knowledge. So like back then we was really fighting for it. We was fighting for ourselves.
Right.
Like nowadays, that's like cool. Like to have a name that's like
unique,
not common is like that's looked up on. And the younger generation, they're a lot less ignorant.
Well, now people are naming their kids cardboard and stuff like that. It's like, whatever. It's like, now it's like, I saw somebody said, like, can we just go back to like regular names?
John and Tom.
Yeah, like, it's like, come on, man. Like,
now you're trying to go to the other extreme.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I wish they were doing that back then. It would have been a lot easier for us, Well,
what about any like relationships y'all might have outside of like our group, like friends wise? Like, did you have like relationships with non-Muslim friends? Like, what was that like? Was there any like, friction there between different religions?
I think our experiences really started when we moved to Hamden. In New Haven, we didn't really have a lot of non-Muslim.
We were only there for a few years too.
A couple years we were there. We were just moving from another state, so we kind of like gravitated to everybody at the masjid, know. So, and then we were in New Haven. Some of the neighborhoods were bad, so we were not from there. I didn't want to just meet up with anybody, hang out with them, So we didn't know where we were going. So we moved to Hamden. That's where we kind of moved into a better neighborhood. Yeah. And then there was a whole bunch of kids at that time around the same age as us. So we would just go out for all day long, hang out and stuff like that. So a lot of our friends were non-Muslims in our neighborhood. Some of them are still my friends to this day. So so and it wasn't really, they understood us. The only thing that would be different is like we would go to pray. That'd be different. Like I gotta go around the house and pray. Like what?
Exactly.
So
we're in the middle of the game. What are you doing?
Exactly. My dad would just call, come on, time, mix a lot. Yo, we're in the middle of a football game, and I'm like, I gotta go. So I think that was probably some of the questions people ask. Why do you have to pray? Obviously, we talked about Ramadan fasting, things like that. Sometimes they would see my dad on a Friday. He have his jalabia or what's a long thobe. And they'd be like, "Why's your dad wearing a dress?" Nothing. And they'd be like, "I had to explain that. Well, it's a religious garment that we wear and stuff like that. So these were the things that we did get asked a lot of questions.
But technically, it's a cultural garment.
Right.
Very true. Exactly.
Very true.
Yeah, definitely culture.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you know, for the main thing, it was kind of a way to learn about each other though. You know, they taught me some things I didn't know about Christianity, things like that. So we kind of respected each other's religion. You know, so and you know, you get to learn a little bit about each other, and it helped you build a better bond. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, ironically, I feel like some of my closest friends also were religious. Right, they were just being Christian or you know, of other religions, but the people that I ended up I'm still friends with to this day, they were rooted in some sort of religion. Whether it was it's that's the dispel the myths. There's so much more in common. If people just stop looking at what your religion said you can't do, what I can't do, and looking for the commonalities, you'd be surprised how much you have in common with somebody. So all my close friends, like my boy E, he was come from a religious background. We cool to this day. He helped make this logo that's behind us. You know what I'm saying? So, most of my relationships, I mean, y'all had each other. Y'all was brothers. You know what I'm saying? I had y'all too, but we ain't live together. But I had to make friends, so that's kind of, you know, I talked to you know, people that are around me. Once they actually learned a little bit about me, it's oh, he's not actually that weird. He just wears a kufi and has a weird name, but I kind of like this fella, you know.
You hit the nail on the head. I think it's just important to understand, us being with different religions and respecting those religions.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody didn't really. We were kids, so they didn't see the importance of that. You know, maybe adults, because adults honestly argued about religion. You know, my religion's right. We never did. As a kid, I never argued with any of my friends about religion.
Never. You definitely did. You definitely did. Naeem was very religious. Captain Muslim when he was a kid.
Seriously, Naeem was I'm trying to convert a couple. You know,
I was like, yo, Naeem, he's 5.
My dad was getting me a little fired up. You know, so you know, I would have lost a couple friends.
I remember Naeem gave our
trying to give him a kufi. Where this?
Naeem gave our next door neighbor shahada. Yo, the kid was 6. Yo, I was like, yo, he's just stick your finger up.
He's not even at the age of consent.
What are you doing, man?
So Naeem was trying to convert people over from Christianity.
Maybe a couple.
Our neighbors. Kids at school.
He was a Jehovah with knees.
You're not gonna go bald if you put this on your head. I promise you.
People were knocking on the door. Yo, your son made my son become Muslim.
Ring on people's doorbell. I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about Ramadan here. Spread the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. You know, that's not the way Muslims go about spreading the religion.
Naeem was definitely that dude though. It was funny, yo. But that was when we were younger though.
Yeah.
You got older.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
He tried to push that to the back of his neck.
Exactly, yo. I never told my friends were cool.
I'm glad you called him out on that.
I never pushed religion on anybody.
You got several examples.
Wait a minute. I ain't gonna front. I had a moment when I was a kid too. I think that was a cool thing about the being so regimented and having that discipline. We really were for it. I always wanted to fast. I always wanted to do the things that my parents, taught us. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. But as you grow, you realize, okay, the world isn't so black and white, and you can't be converting kids at 6 years on the parents' doorstep.
So what did you guys feel as far as the challenge of prayer as a kid? You know what I'm saying? In school, the challenge of having to break it up, because for people who don't know that aren't Muslim, you have to pray 5 times a day, and a lot of times that was during your school hours and stuff like that. So or like you said, you're out playing and stuff like that, or you guys, you watching a movie with your friends and stuff. You got to stop. It was a real serious structure. When it was time to pray, you had to pray. You had to drop everything. So what were some of your challenges that you faced, praying and being a kid?
I mean, playing basketball, you got game on the line, you hear your dad, Yusuf, it's time to come in and pray. Put the ball down, everybody's mad at you. You're going away for 10 to 15 minutes. There's times you're playing video games, you're playing Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, you're about to beat the game. It's time to
pray. There was no pause back then. You couldn't pause the game.
Exactly, man. So,
turn it off.
Our parents were super disciplined, though, man. At the drop of a dime, man, you had to. As a kid, you don't understand it. You don't really get it. But
how about prayers at the rest stops? How was that? The experience. We were, like you said, you might pull on the Jersey Turnpike. Your parents it's time to pray.
Right.
You have to get out and right there, a whole congregation of people making prayers and everybody staring at you, looking at you. Yeah. I'm looking over my shoulder. That was a different thing to see. And to this day, I still really haven't even seen anybody do anything like that.
You really don't, yo.
I go to rest stop, I don't see anybody, 15, 20 people making a prayer on the side of the road, So these are some of the things that we experienced that were, different from, a lot of people that never went through stuff like that.
Well, I think now a lot of that is a lot more accepted, man. So like when you go to like airports now, there's areas you can go pray.
Yeah,
right. You know what I'm saying? And like if you tell somebody, yo, I gotta pray, like people respect it. But, oh, you do use the room, like so it's a lot different now because it's more accepted. Islam has grown tremendously since we were kids. So
yeah, I just don't think it was kind of understood. They were like pray, like yeah, you can pray. Like most people, they pray before they go to bed, before they go to bed or stuff like that, or when they wake up. Like for us, it was 5 times a day, and it was like, wait, you pray 5 times a day?
I need space.
Yeah, like I gotta pray.
Yeah. When I was younger, man, like I was so embarrassed like to pray at school. So there was times where I prayed in the bathroom. And praying in the bathroom is completely forbidden. It's the dirtiest place. But I would go in there and just try to pray quickly in the bathroom.
You pray in the bathroom?
We're first grade. We're not going to breeze through this out. Walk me through you praying in the bathroom. You put your face on the ground in the bathroom where people urinate?
No, listen.
But that shows you the fear.
So just, your dad's telling you have to pray 5 times a day. So, the first prayer might be at 1 o'clock. So I'm not praying near the bathroom stalls or the toilet. I'm praying in the corner, the far corner, or right near the door.
I never knew this, Zach.
So I was embarrassed about praying, in the classroom or, I didn't really have an option for a separate room. So I would go in the bathroom and pray within a minute and a half, in and out.
Okay, so just to get some clarity, you're not even supposed to say the word Allah in the bathroom.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And you have to say the word Allah probably about 50 times during one session of prayer.
Right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure all your first grade prayers didn't count.
Exactly. I was 6 years old.
If you're not in puberty, it doesn't matter. But that's hilarious.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing to be clear on. Like, we talk about these things. Honestly, when we were that age, we wanted to do this stuff. Like, it's not. You
weren't forced.
You weren't forced to do it.
Oh, we weren't forced.
I guess
we were voluntold.
I guess you can say no, but you don't
ask did you pray today when you got home? So I don't think that's voluntary.
But in Islam, you don't have to pray until you're
according to the religion. Not according to
right. Yes. Well, we know there's many contradictions as we will explore through this podcast. Some of the things that were required.
If he can crawl, he can pray.
Exactly.
Yeah. He can say Allahu Akbar. He's ready to pray. Get that boy a prayer run.
Yeah, but like you said, that was a challenge in school, making your prayers. I mean, my biggest fear was just somebody seeing me do it.
Right. So it was that's why I was in the bathroom.
What if somebody had to walk in and use the bathroom?
Can I use the bathroom, teacher? Go in there. I'm out in a minute. Got my elbow on the door.
Like the pursuit of happiness.
I'm in and out. I'll be right out. They have single bathrooms too, though.
You went to the family bathroom, you go live.
A mixture of both. I did a mixture of both.
I would hope you would went in there after they did like a fresh mopping, because bro, we all know public bathrooms now are dirty. In the 90s, people didn't realize they didn't act like they knew where the toilet was.
Exactly.
And in first grade too, because somebody
exactly
is peeing anywhere,
That's hilarious, yo.
Well, it just shows you the struggle of the pressure of not wanting somebody to see you, and the pressure of not wanting to disappoint your parents at the same time. So it's an inner struggle, and so he made his compromise by using the bathroom.
That's a new one. I never heard that before.
That's the first time, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to deal with a lot of that at that age because, I was at home. But when I got to high school, they just kind of worked out a way for me to go to the nurse's office, to go pray.
That's cool. We used to pray in the library, right?
My dad would pick out a room or something like that. He'd be like, "Oh, this is a good room," He would come to the school and
make sure there's no images in the room.
There's an area that they could make a prayer at. I don't think it was a library because I would.
I think it was. You know what?
I mean, it was a quiet space.
The library is where we went when we were fasting.
Right. Yeah.
There was definitely like a small room or a classroom that we prayed in.
Yeah, to a conference room or something like that. Yeah, where you can make a prayer at.
Yeah, but at that time, remember we only had to make one prayer during school.
That's
true.
Because
the prayers were so early.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it was like 1 o'clock.
That's true.
So
did y'all get pulled out of school on Fridays to go to Juma?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, of course,
With my days, like you said, we came with a boo. Please don't pull up in front of the
school. Just park around the block.
My dad would pull up right up front.
Don't come inside. Whatever.
Blasting some nasheed or something.
Because he would wear, the turban and everything. I'm black, so if somebody see your dad coming with a turban on or something, like yo, you're not black.
You know what I'm saying? Giving my friends way too much ammo. Roast me when I get back to school on Monday, yo.
Yeah, man. I would be praying like, please. Like, what time you want me outside? I'll be out at 12:15 on the dot. I'm not giving.
Just don't come inside.
Yeah, just don't open that door.
If I had a test, yo, I'm like, man, I gotta hurry up. Start circling anything, man.
Dad gonna walk in there looking like Lion in the Desert. I used to look forward to the Fridays though, man. You a little early day. You know,
yeah, that was cool.
See the ox,
cool. I definitely enjoyed that, man. That was great. You know, Jumas were good,
yeah, for sure, yo, definitely.
And like, I guess one last thing, around like what we were getting taught in school compared to what we getting taught at home. Like, what were some of like, I don't know, some of the contradictions that you would probably hear in school versus what you may hear at home or in the masjid?
Everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally everything that you were taught in school, you know, just the way you interacted with people.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, remember, it's a totally different culture. And I think that's what people don't understand. We live two different cultures.
Yeah.
You were living two different cultures in one person, you know. Yeah. So trying to adapt and still, you know, be normal, you know, you wanted to have some type of normalcy while you were in school, but then still follow a very strict religion. Yeah. It's just a challenge that, I mean, like you said, at this time, no one understood what we were doing or talking about. Yeah. So it was literally a challenge every single day. Every single day you went to school, it was a challenge. It was you were explaining something new or dealing with something, like you said, whether it's wearing your kufi and somebody throwing it around or somebody laughing at your kufi. So, you know, no matter what, you know, that it was an everyday challenge.
Yeah. Anything stick out specific? You know. Oh, you trying to fix a mic? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything that stood out that was specific or like, you know, was extra challenging for y'all?
No, really, it was just, well, for me, it was the girls, yo. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Just the fact that I couldn't interact with girls at all, and I was in school with a bunch of girls. Yeah. You know, it was.
At what point did you crack?
That's not a topic.
Episode. We'll do that for another episode.
Okay, Dad don't hear that one.
Yeah. But, you know, it was tough, man. You know, because at that time you're a teenager, man, and you know you're used to not being around any females, and now you're around all the females, and it's like, yo, man, it's like. You're going to break at some point, man. You know, just not when I say break, I mean like you're going to start to interact with them. You start to talk to them, all that stuff like that. But, you know, it was definitely challenging because at first you're nervous about it. And then after a while, you know, you kind of get, you know, used to talking to, you know, to females and all that. But,
I think like you were saying, you know, just that early childhood development, like having so many years of that, like it's hard to like break it. But then it's like now you're in, you know, your teenage years, and now you're starting to create different habits around that. It's like, something about you changed. I don't know. You used to always lower your gaze. Now you're looking.
Exactly. Directly in her eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Right? No, for sure.